What is up, all? Welcome into Pac-12 Preview. Yes, I am Michael Caratinito at Diablo00 is where you can find me on Twitter. And what a fun weekend it was. The annual PATS run took place in Tempe, and just a solid turnout for that. I know I talked about it most of the show on Friday, but well deserved worth, needed to be talked about. Any way you want to look at it. That is how one would describe it. But yeah, Pat's run took place, and then we had the ASU spring game right after that. Coach Dillingham in his first season, and it was pretty good turnout. Obviously, Coach at the end, I'll play some of his sound. Was hoping it would be more, but no, pretty good turnout. And man, it was interesting spring game, and we will definitely get to that as we go through the show. But yeah, very, very interesting because there was the Bussin' with the Boys. Taylor Luan, a former player for Charlie Regal at Chaparral High School, and went to Michigan, and then is having a heck of a career with the Tennessee Titans. But they were actually the guest coaches, and I mean their podcast is absolutely blown up. If you've checked out Bussin' with the Boys, one would have seen that. And yeah, they've just been starting and they've been rolling. But yeah, it was great to have them out there as and it was like I said, it was very cool to have them at the game. And yeah, they could have went to quite a few different spots. And there was Tempe was the last stop on their spring tour. So that was yeah. So Will Compton was the other head coach for Team Maroon, and Taylor Luan was for Team Gold. And again, it's just check them out, Bussin' with the Boys. And they came out. ASU was their last spring stop. And again, it was great to see Taylor Luan, getting to talk to him again. And, obviously these guys have talked to a ton of people throughout the years. And I went up to Taylor Luan and said, I know it's been a minute, and we both done a lot of things. I said, but last time I talked to you, you were actually playing at Chaparral. And but yeah, no, it's good to catch up with them for a few minutes before the game, the spring game started. And just talking about, coming out there, and he says, it's exciting, Coach Dillingham, and I talked about that all throughout the spring, and we're aiming for Friday. I'm going to put this out there again, depending on schedules, but going to have assistant head coach Charlie Regal on with me on Friday again. So I talked to him before spring ball started, right after recruiting at the Super Bowl. He was on Radio Row with us, as you know. So, yes, looking to have Charlie Regal on. Also, a few other guests as well. So that is, again, absolutely awesome. So aiming to have him on Friday when we are back here. But, yes, so that was the conversation, but I got to catch up with Coach Regal, obviously, throughout spring and at the after the spring game. But yeah, it's a good crowd. You'd love to see more. I mean, I know I've seen spring games at other sites with 40,000 people there. So, Coach Dillingham's building towards that, and it's springtime. Well, it would have been nice to have more students. And yeah, the weather was great. I mean, for Arizona, it was a teeny bit warm, but it wasn't as crazy hot as it would be in the fall if it was an afternoon game. So, but nonetheless, it was a great day. And again, kicking it off with Pat's run. It was great to see all the people out there. I got down there a little bit early-ish towards the end of the race, and but yeah, it was great to see people around. A lot of people, stuck around, and it's funny because the way people were sitting in the stands, they took the top areas. They were in the shaded areas. A lot were sitting in the club level. But yeah, no, I mean, not a bad turnout, but it would have been. I think Coach Dillingham and the staff, they're headed in the right direction of getting that number. Say you get at least 10,000 out, and then you're thinking, wow, look at this, and then it just keeps growing. You want the spring game to be an event, and except for the first one, very, very. I enjoyed the turnout. Some things to clean up from the game and just overall spring practice, but the way the competition, the way they're battling, definitely is just going to keep growing, in my opinion. But we'll get to that. We shall definitely get to that and go from there. But first, first I want to get to baseball over the weekend in the Pac-12. And so it was, I will say this real quick. Up in Seattle in Washington, ASU in Washington only got 2 games in because there was rain yesterday, and that game was canceled yesterday, and there was no word on when and if they would make that game up. So we'll see if it affects either team postseason wise. Yes, it would have to be replayed. But we'll see. And as of this morning, and again, of course, knowing my luck, they'll release it as I'm on, but I didn't see anything as to a rescheduled third game between Washington and ASU. But yeah, Friday night, scores went a little bit like this. Cal beat Utah 3-2. Oregon shut out Stanford 4-0. Again, I was saying huge series there, and Oregon gets the shutout win in Eugene Friday night 4-0. UCLA beat UC Davis 3-2. Washington beat ASU 8-3 Friday night. And then Washington State beat U of A 6-3. And then Oregon State beat USC 10-4. Another big series there in the PAC. And then Utah gets revenge on Saturday in a high-scoring game. They beat Cal 13-10. UCLA took the second game over UC Davis 8-2. Arizona State held on and beat Washington Saturday night 8-6. Oregon took the second from Stanford 8-1. So a lot of runs, obviously explosion of runs Saturday night in the conference, as I'm telling you this. And then Washington State outscored Arizona again to take the series 11-8. And then Oregon State, in the lowest scoring game of the night on Saturday, Oregon State beat USC for the second time 3-2 on Saturday night. And then Sunday, pardon me, Cal beat Utah 11-8 to sweep the series. Arizona didn't get swept. They put up 14 and beat Washington State 14-8. Oregon State swept the series with USC. They beat them 6-3. Stanford got one from Oregon. They won 6-4. And then UC Davis actually took one from UCLA, even though it's a non-Pac-12 matchup there. But they won that game 6-3. And then, like I said, the ASU Washington game was canceled. So when we look at the standings in baseball, because of what went on over the weekend, the Sun Devils are up top in the Pac-12. They are 11-3 in conference play, followed by Stanford, again, who dropped 2-3 to, what was that, Oregon? Yeah, who dropped 2-3 to Oregon, but Stanford is 11-4. UCLA is 8-5-1. That didn't change from last week because, like I said, with an odd number of teams, every week somebody in the Pac-12 is going to be playing somebody outside the Pac-12 in conference play. So UCLA is still 8-5-1. Oregon moves up to 9-6, as does USC, falls to 9-6. Oregon State taking series from USC is 10-8 in conference play. Washington again, they had a 2-game split, but Washington is 7-7 overall. And then Washington State, who took 2 out of 3, moved up to 7-10. Arizona dropped to 6-12 in conference play. Cal 5-13, and Utah 4-13-1 in conference play. Overall, Arizona State 25-10. Stanford is 23-10. UCLA 21-10-1. Oregon is 24-10. USC 21-13. Oregon State, again, getting rolling a little bit. They're 24-11. And Washington is 20-11 overall. Washington State 21-13. Arizona falls to 18-15 overall. Cal is at 500 now at 16-16, and then Utah 13-21-1. So, and only one team under 500 in Pac-12 baseball. And man, tell you what, for Oregon to get 2 out of 3 from Stanford, I mean, yes, if you're a Sun Devil homer or fan, but overall, looking at the shape of the Pac-12, it's for Oregon, like I said, to get 2 or 3 from Stanford, absolutely huge. And then you look at Arizona State up top. I mean, you look at it, and next weekend, another Territorial Cup matchup. They head down to Tucson to take on the Wildcats. I'll get the schedules. I get the next weekend's schedule, but I'm just saying they are headed to Tucson next weekend and to take on the Wildcats. And they swept the Wildcats up in Tempe. So, nobody ever wants to get swept when a rival does it, and it's they're up top. Arizona has revenge on their mind, and I mean, it's an ASU team, like I said, that oh no, that's not a weekend series. It's just Wednesday. Sorry, it's just Wednesday. Today is the 17th. That's right. And if you haven't done your taxes, they are due today. So, but yeah, this Wednesday they go down to Tucson to take on Arizona. And yes, I haven't seen any. There's nothing yet on the schedule for Washington. So we'll see how it plays out, because that game might matter between ASU and Washington as it goes on. So they might have to replay that. They could do it right before the Pac-12 baseball tournament, which is, I mean, ASU, the last weekend of the season, UCLA comes to town, which, again, a huge matchup there. UCLA comes to town, and they finish on the 20th, and then on Saturday. But then Tuesday, the Pac-12 baseball tournament starts. And so I don't know, if anything, they're supposed to play UC Riverside. They're at UC Riverside Monday, May 15th. I could see if the Washington game meant more, meaning that might happen, but who knows? Maybe it won't. If it, won't matter, but nonetheless, long story short, too late. We'll figure it out. So, yeah, so that was the weekend in baseball. And then real quick, look at not real quick, but quickly, we'll look at the weekend, which was softball, and let you know how it went. So on Friday, Cal was playing UNLV this weekend. Cal beat UNLV 12-4. Oregon beat ASU in Tempe 5-2 on Friday night. UCLA down in Tucson. I told you kids about this. They shut out Arizona 8-0. And kind of a little surprised by that one, but nonetheless. And then Washington beat Oregon State 2-0. And then UCLA, they get the series win because they didn't shut them out, but they scored 8 runs again. They beat Arizona 8-4 on Saturday. Oh, Utah, by the way, also beat Stanford 4-1 on Saturday. Huge matchup there. So Utah beat Stanford 4-1 on Saturday. Friday. Sorry. They beat them on Friday 4-1. So Utah won Friday, Cal won Friday over UNLV, Oregon beat ASU, UCLA beat Arizona, Washington beat Oregon State. That's all on Friday. On Saturday, UCLA, again, gets a series win. They beat Arizona 8-4. Utah beats Stanford 4-3 to get the series win there. And then Cal takes out UNLV. Oregon, it was like Groundhog Day, beat Arizona State again 5-2 on Saturday. And then Washington gets the series win as they beat Oregon State on Saturday 3-2. And then yesterday, to wrap up the series on Sunday, Utah, well, they sweep Stanford. They beat them 5-4. Cal swept UNLV. UCLA, another run explosion. They are just crushing the top of the Pac-12, but they beat Arizona, get the sweep 14-5. Oregon State gets one over Washington 11-1, and Oregon gets the sweep in Tempe as they beat ASU 4-0. So when we look at standings after this weekend, UCLA, surprise, surprise, still up top, 15-3 in conference play after getting the sweep of Arizona. Man, so they are up top. Utah, they are behind them at 11-4 overall. Washington is 12-6 in conference play. Stanford 8-7. Oregon 8-7 as well. Cal 6-8-1. The Sun Devils fall to 5-10. Arizona drops to 3-12, and Oregon State 3-14-1. So yeah, Utah over the weekend. I mean, taking 2 of 3 from Stanford, absolutely huge for the Utes. And Stanford again falls to 8-7 in Pac-12 play. Oregon improves to 8-7. And like I said before the weekend, if one of those teams between ASU and Oregon could get a sweep, they would be at 8-7, kind of in the thick of it. But everybody's trying to chase down UCLA, and well, it can be done. Yes, it can be done. They are competitors, but good luck, man. It is just, wow, they are just rolling. So overall records, though, the Bruins 39-4. Overall, the Utes 29-8. Washington improves to 31-9, as is Stanford now is 31-9 overall. Oregon is 28-11. Cal is 28-12-1. Arizona State 21-16 overall. Arizona is 24-18 overall, and the only team under 500 in the pack is Oregon State, as they are 12-25-1 overall. Is Oregon State, but man, UCLA, what they're doing, just well, they're definitely, knock on wood, they're in line to host a regional. And if they win it, super regional as well. Utah right there having a chance to host a regional, as is UW. Stanford, I don't see it. Oregon, I mean, again, if you're sweeping teams, but Stanford and Oregon kind of a long shot. And then for Cal and ASU, a very long shot. Arizona, not happening. Even if they were to win out in the pack, if they were to win out, I don't think they would be. I don't know if they would. They're 3-12, so yeah, they got 3 coming up at Oregon. So if they were, I mean, if they were to win out, they'd finish 500 in the Pac-12. And this is what Arizona has left. They have conference play wise, because they played GCU midweek this week. They play on Wednesday. But they're at Oregon. They host Oregon State. They host Cal. So yeah, so if they were to win out, they'd finish 12-12 in Pac-12 play, which, not that they can't, but that is a huge, huge, tall task to do. against those teams. For Washington, though, I mean, you're Washington, Utah, you're right there, but it's the pressure of you can't drop. And the loss, I mean, the loss column, Utah's only one game behind UCLA. Like I said, UCLA 15-3, Utah 11-4. Utah can have a heck of a season. But yeah, I mean, and for Washington, I mean, you're 3 games behind in the loss column. So, like I said, with 9 conference games left to go, tough to do. But that is where softball's at. And man, the postseason, like I said, postseason softball and baseball, just again, absolutely awesome. So we are headed in that direction. And yeah, I mean, ASU on the men's side, on the baseball side up top, UCLA on the softball side. So the postseason, interesting. I mean, overall, I mean, look, Arizona State, even Cal, Oregon. I mean, you look at teams that could go to other regionals and play, but yeah, you got a little work to do now. You got a little work there, but the top of the conference, again, you keep building on what you're doing. And I mean, being consistent, UCLA at this state just being outright dominant. So hopefully if you were down in Tucson, again, I know Arizona as well had their spring game in Tucson on Saturday. But if you were down there, man, I hope you again went and checked UCLA. I know for Arizona fans it was tough. I thought Arizona might get one. I thought Arizona would at least get one, but I thought they might take 2 or 3 just because, again, not that I didn't think UCLA could do what they did and sweep them, but it's in Tucson. And like I said, the history between those two, it's especially in softball, it's very, very, I don't want to say chippy, but competitive. You can go with a little chippy. And that is that. So that is the weekend that was. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, going to talk spring game, ASU spring game, what I saw, what I liked, and a little sound from coaches, players, all that good stuff when we come back here on Pac-12 Preview. right, welcome back to Pac-12 Preview. Yes, I am Michael Carrasino at Diablo00 is my Twitter handle. Hit me up in the comments here as well. But anything you have, just again, feel free. And but again, any thoughts, comments, what you've seen, questions? I'm feeling confident I can answer them. If not, well, we'll figure it out together. But nonetheless, it was again, awesome weekend, like I said, in baseball and softball and Pat's Run here in Tempe this weekend. Absolutely awesome. Again, such a great event. If you have not got to partake in that, it's worth a trip out here to partake in, is all I'm going to say. To partake in Pat's Run and everything that goes on. Again, it finishes at the 42-yard line at Sun Devil Stadium. So again, it's it's one of those things where when you look at it, it's so much. Again, it's early, but it's a fun event to be a part of. There's so many. There's so many people. Again, volunteers and everything that have built it up that make it so great. So, and then to have the spring game, like I said, be a part of it. That is to cap it off. That is just absolutely awesome, to say the least. And speaking of the spring game, by the way, absolutely very awesome. It was, again, very sunny and clear day in Phoenix. I know that's so weird, right? Well, in Tempe as well, sunny and clear. And it was, again, it was just an absolutely awesome day. Absolutely awesome day. And it was an awesome day. The weather was great, and the football was fun. Like I said, Bussin' with the boys was there. Tara Luan, Will Compton, the guest coaches of the team. And again, they had fun with it. The quarterbacks, I know everybody wants to start there. No, there has not been a starter named. They're not going to name. Coach wasn't going to name one after spring ball anyway. So yes, that being said, Trenton Bourget, that being said, it's one of those things where Trenton Bourget, again, is back for another year. And he, again, I thought looked good through the spring. I mean, we had the transfer portal quarterback in Drew Pine. And it looked like him and Bourget were getting looks. Also, Bennett Meredith in the mix. Jaden Rashada, yes, we know him, obviously. Dad played for ASU, the whole thing with the whole thing with Florida and just the everything that went down there. And the NIL falling through and all that. So it's but he played pretty good. I like he had few hiccups, but again, you can see the raw talent from this young man. So Jaden Rashada, also Jacob Conover, again, who came back to transfer back to ASU, and he throws a beautiful deep ball. I will say that, and it looks like he, getting a grip of Coach Dillingham's offense. And so that is picking up the offense, and obviously new install. It's a new install for all the quarterbacks. Yes, I said Trenton Bourguet's back from last year, but when you look at it, it's like I said, a new install for everybody. And it's just how he wants him to look at the offense. And you've heard him throughout the spring when I've played sound. He said it a million times. 2nd and 10 is much better than 2nd and 18. And when you look at it that way, and it's true, because people say, well, that's so simple. But yes, it's so hard to get talented, competitive athletes to not make a play. And when you're thinking of it, even at quarterback as well, it's one of those things where you're like, wow, I don't see it. Like, I can make that play. Well, inevitably, if you can't make that play, then to overstate the obvious, then it becomes very, very frustrating for the offense and just what you want to accomplish offensively. So, I mean, the quarterback play, look, between Drew Pine and Trenton Bourguet, you know, both quarterbacks were able to make plays. I think, you know, and like I said, coach hasn't named anyone. And, you know, you see how, you know, Conover played and Jaden Rashada when he got in and Bennett Meredith. But from these, you know, from watching, I don't know. I think maybe through the spring, I think Bourguet took a lot of steps. I mean, yeah, both quarterbacks, you know, coach said there's things to clean up. And when he's not just saying, you know, one section or one part of the offense or defense or anything like that. So it's one of those things. And I mean, the depth on offense too, because you think of, I mean, the running backs. Let's start with there. I mean, I know we've talked receivers, but I mean, Cameron Scattaboo, the transfer, who again is just an absolute, just power runner, absolute bowling ball. DeCarlos Brooks, who transferred from Cal, local kid. I mean, was at Chandler, but a local kid, transferring back to DeCarlos Brooks again had a heck of a spring. Was held out of the spring game. Some guys were held out again, and it's spring, so nothing serious, but at the same time, just being cautious, and that makes sense. And then you have, you know, a guy's got experience, has been with Coach Iguana, obviously back as the running backs coach, but Tevin White, and then even George Hart. So, and now you add, and this is Javen Jacobs, the Saguaro Sabercat, obviously played for Coach Mons, kind of played in the backfield, that slot receiver, and he's been playing slot receiver for ASU coming in as that. But now that there was, you know, again, some running backs got banged up, he is in the running back mix. And I have to say, usually when somebody subs, when you get somebody that subs, and it's one of those things where he could be in the backfield and then he could line up in the slot. It is a matchup nightmare, and he had a good spring and learning the playbook, obviously from the receiver standpoint. When, like I said, he's in the slot, playing receiver, but now playing running back. And Coach Iguano had talked about just, you know, getting him more comfortable in that. But he's such a weapon, an athlete and a weapon, though. They were talking about that it is a matchup nightmare, because you could have him, you know, in the backfield, and say Scattaboo's in the game. You could have them both, you know, in the backfield, but then you don't have to sub out. You can put him in this, you can split him out. So Javen Jacobs, again, another weapon, and he's wearing number 8. He was, again, another Saguaro guy, but a DJ Foster fan. And one of the great pictures that was shared throughout spring ball was Javen Jacobs, actually as a young kid at ASU, taking a picture with his favorite player at the time, DJ Foster. And, you know, Foster wore number 8 and Jacobs wearing number 8. And it's just, man, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool that he's able to do that. But the skill set too, you have to, how can you be more, I mean, I'll say useful, but how can you be more beneficial, useful to an offense, to anything on the field? Well, be able to play multiple positions, but not just, again, fill in at a position to where it's like, okay, they're there, but, this is all we can do with them if they're in this position. And for Jacobs, that is not the case. So, you get to Carlos Brooks back and, like I said, George Hart, Tevin White, man, that is going to be a heck of a running back mix is all I know. And that is, yes, going to be one heck of a running back mix. For the Sun Devils. So I look forward to that. And again, there's one ball. And that is just again a great thing to have. The receiving core. Let's get to that. And now that we get to that, I'm actually going to we're going to hear from Xavier Guillory, and he's a transfer too from Idaho State. And man, I tweeted a lot about this young man during spring ball at practices because just catching everything, working hard, the pattern tree looking good. The speed, the explosiveness, next to an Elijah Badger. But this is X after the spring game. Again, just talking about the spring and what he's got going forward.
Competing on a beautiful day like this, it was fun, and I'm glad we completed spring ball on a high note.
And to be in a setting where there are fans, it is more of a game environment. How do you think you guys responded to that?
Man, like we said in the pregame, it's the same. Like every practice we practice, it's just added music, added fans, and we're gonna practice the same. We're gonna compete. We're gonna go hard every time. So it was nothing different. Obviously, that it makes it more of an exciting environment, but we just did our job and competed out there. So.
And looking back on this entire spring, Kenny Dillingham taking over, what he's been able to do for you guys, how do you feel you guys responded to all the changes that we made?
Yeah, it was hard at first, just how competitive and how hard he made it. Practice, we full pads every day, live every day, and it was the hardest I've ever worked, but it was also the most fun I've ever had. And we adjusted well to what he taught us, and we responded, and I think that's what he was most proud about. And I'm just glad to be a player underneath him. Yeah, of course. Yes, sir.
Xavier, when you saw the maroon first gold rosters come out, kind of what was your first reactions when you saw
that we're gonna win? That we're gonna win. I was like, oh, maroon, Nah, we were stacked. No, gold was good, but I knew we were gonna win and pull it down. Plus, we had Will Compton. He gave us a little pregame speech. I wish y'all could have been there. It was a lecture. So we knew he was gonna win today, and I'm glad I was on Team Maroon, for sure.
And with the obviously culmination of spring, but just the offense, I mean, it looked to be running pretty smooth. Defense made plays, but just your thought from where the offense started to where you guys finished up today in the game.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have a top 5 offense in the country. It's just inevitable, just with Coach Dillingham, Coach Baldwin. They just, they're professionals at this and got PhDs and dicing up defenses, and so we're gonna put up points, gonna put up numbers, and we got the players to do that. So it was no surprise to me that we came out here and executed again. It's just doing your job, doing your part, and coach will take care of the rest.
Are there any side bets you guys are placing as players amongst each other?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to speak on that per NCAA, but maybe, probably, most likely, yeah. But we'll see. I got some side bets that I got to talk about in the locker room. So, sure. Good.
All right. But yeah, you heard him there. I mean, just the offense, and again, what it meant, what it and he's talking about Coach Baldwin, and I know I've been talking about Coach Dillingham, but Coach Baldwin, I mean, what he's been able to do offensively, where he's been just excited, and you heard that from X all season, or all spring, I should say, all spring long, and to me, it's one of those things where receiver depth. And I mean, I even caught up with Andre Johnson a few Saturdays ago, and he was saying, like, coming back because he had a decision to make. He was here, and you go through a 3-9 season, transfer portal. I've said it. Everybody said it all along, but I said it all along. 3-9, you're going to be like, all right, deuces, I'm out of here. There's no way that I am. There's no way that I'm staying because of everything that's going on. So to me, that's one thing that when you look at it is cool that Andre Johnson stayed. And actually, so I tweeted it out on Saturday. He had the last the touchdown catch of the game as Maroon was winning, but they downed the ball, and the crowd that was by the end zone is booing Coach Dillingham. And I'm laughing because, again, they're booing him because they're like, oh, let him play, give the defense a chance. And so Trenton Bourguet downed it, and then he was, calling out. It looks like he's calling out. Looks like he was going to down the ball again, right? The funny part about that is he faked it down from way back in the day, kids. Look this one up. It was Dan Marino fake spiked it, but he got the shotgun snap because, under center in college, they don't go under center anymore to down the ball. They snap it in the shotgun. But nonetheless, so he faked it, threw it up. Andre Johnson comes down with it because the defense was just kind of walking. The defense was just kind of they're going to down the ball. They were frustrated. And that was one of those things where, yes, they were frustrated, and they didn't know. They thought they were just going to down it, and they were still going to have the win. But yeah, Bourguet threw one more touchdown pass to Andre Johnson. So, but yeah, I mean, these receivers. I mean, looking at X, we heard from him. I mean, another guy really impressed with Troy O'Meary. I mean, he is all of 6'5", and it's not just a red zone jump ball guy. I mean, Troy O'Meary at 6'5", absolutely just a beast. And he can factor in too. But when you look at it, so I mean, you have a guy like Xavier Guillory, who we talked to it. I mean, again, the spring he had. And then Javen Jacobs, like I said, at receiver, but also, mind you not, he is a He is an absolute beast, even at receiver. So, and like I said, Troy O'Meary, and then Chad Johnson Jr., who had a pretty solid spring. And looking at what he did, Giovanni Sanders. Did I mention Elijah Badger? Hello. I mean, you get what I'm saying. This receiver core is deep, and it is talented. Yes, a lot of different guys from last year's 3 wins. I get that, but it's it's just, again, absolutely awesome. And to see that. And then you go to the tight ends. I mean, I know I've tweeted a lot about Jalen Conyers, who, hey, all hats off to Coach Iguano. He is the one that nicknamed him that last year after the Colorado game, the human Ralphie. But he had a huge 60-yard touchdown catch, I want to say from Drew Pine. But and then in his typical self, made sure that he ran through some guys. But yeah, 60-yard touchdown catch for the Gold team. And you have him. You have Messiah Swinson, who, as a block, I know as a blocker, and when he transferred here, he was definitely known for his blocking. So, So, I mean, and you have him, and then even in the tight end group, Bryce Pierre, this young man came on throughout the spring, looked very good. And it's, and even like, he just the way he played. And Jacob Newell had some pops throughout spring as well. So I mean, hats off to Coach Mons. I mean, working with the tight ends, but getting him comfortable in this offense. You have these tight ends, you have these running backs, you have weapons to where, yes, everybody wants to be excited in spring, as do I, but it's a team that definitely should win more than 3 games. Just going to say, and then people say, well, that's a pretty low bar, blah, blah, blah. After last year, new staff coming in, all of that, it is absolutely awesome to say the least. So I am a big fan of it. So nonetheless, it was an awesome spring game. Like I said, I mean, between Trenton Bourget, Drew Pine, Bennett Meredith, quarterback-wise, and Jaden Rashada. I mean, we'll see what the summer and the fall does for them, because it's, it's a competition that I think did see some separation. Again, just from my eyes, not from any, not from that, but just in watching, I think it did see some separation. And I think some quarterback may have earned more a deeper look in the fall when fall camp hits. So they're going to, like I said, go through the summer and everything, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. So on that, it was a great spring game. Oh yes, Team Maroon did win. Like X said, Team Maroon did win. But on that, I'm going to get out of here again. So stoked everybody watching it. Follow me on Twitter at Diablo00. Again, you can hit me up in comments here. Hit me up on Twitter. Any questions, Pac-12 stuff. If you want to throw some other stuff in there too, rock on. So it is absolutely awesome. You can do that at Diablo00 on Twitter, and we can go from there. Stanley Cup playoffs start tonight. NBA playoffs are going on. So hope you all enjoy it. Enjoy some sport. Enjoy some playoff sport. And the Stanley Cup playoffs, still say the best playoffs in all sports. So They are absolutely amazing. But going to get out of here. Everybody, again, have a most wonderful week. We will see you on Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. Again, going to try and hook up with ASU assistant head coach, again, friend of the program, longtime friend, Charlie Regal. So we're going to try and hook up with him on Friday and go from there. That being said, going to get out of here. Again, you have the schedule. Let you know. We'll talk about weekend Pac-12 baseball, softball. Also let you know how the golf championships went. The women's the Pac-12 is here at Papago, the ASU home course. So it started today, and it is going to be very, very rocking out there at ASU. They have a great chance. Washington has a solid squad too. Pac-12 golf, absolutely phenomenal. So you can check that out too. Go to pac12.com and get live updates, all that good stuff. So we got it for you there. But that being said, again, I am out of here. Everybody have a great week. I will see you on Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. And as always, forks up.